you've said beans now multiple times. What kind of beans are you referencing then for people to eat so they have an idea? Because obviously there's different choices.
All types.
All types.
Yeah, lentils and black beans and red beans and azuki beans and kidney beans and soybeans, all types of beans.
Green ones too?
Well, green like string beans?
Yeah.
They're like a green vegetable.
Yeah.
Yes, they're
So
green
they fall
vegetable.
in.
But they don't fall into the category of beans.
Okay. So
The beans, when you soak them, you cook them in an Instapot or whatever, or a crock pot. You cook them for a long time. They're in a soup or a stew. They get soft. They're high in protein. They're carbohydrates. Beans have the most resistant starch, number one.
Yeah.
And they have the most slowly digestible carbohydrates. So they don't create this glycemic spike in the blood. And because they're so high in resistant starch, the 90% of the resistant starch doesn't get absorbed into the bloodstream. The word resistant means it's resistant to enzymatic degradation. So the enzymes, the digestive enzymes, can't break it down.
Yeah.
So it gets fermented by bacteria in the gut into short-chain fatty acids. Now, one of the major short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, is a signaler of the apostat in the hypothalamus to reduce our appetite.
Mm-hmm.
So our appetite and our apostat in the brain. So it makes us feel satisfied with fewer calories. So because the calories, the carbohydrate calories are not all absorbed, at a percent of total absorbed calories, the protein content in beans is even higher than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
It may say 35% calories in a bean is from protein, but when you consider you're losing 15% you're using 15 or 20% of the resistant starch that's passing through you or not being digested, out of the percent of calories that were absorbed is closer to 45%. It's more closer to 45% protein in the bean.
Right.
So it's really a high protein food. In many cases, you're getting more protein than you would from the same amount of calories from animal products.
Got it. Okay. What about for people that are, and I don't want to say bodybuilders per se, but people that want to follow this, that are training to gain more muscle, gain more size? They're obviously going to have a higher need for protein intake and probably a higher carbohydrate need depending on the type of training they're doing. Right. A couple things then. Are there different foods you'd recommend? And then if we're looking at protein powders, are you looking at plant protein powders as opposed to whey, or what's your recommendation there?
Well, I start with high protein plant foods like hemp seeds and sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and almonds and beans, and I'd start with the real food. And people don't realize how high these foods are in protein.
Oh yeah.
But number one, like a conventional, typical high carbohydrate vegetarian diet, which is linked to osteoporosis and weakened muscles, gets about 15 grams of protein per 500 calories. But a nutritarian diet gets about 25 to 30 grams of protein per 500 calories. Mm-hmm. So now we're in the 100 gram of protein a day for a 2,000 calorie diet. We're in that range just from plants. So it's rare that a person would, and as you get bigger and you're exercising more, maybe you need 3,000 calories a day. Maybe you're LeBron James, or you have, maybe you're a bigger guy and you need more food. You get more calories. If you're getting 30 grams of protein per 500 calories, you're pumping in your protein. So, if I was recommending a protein powder, it would be hemp and pea and pumpkin seed-based proteins, because the whey proteins and even the soy protein, it raises IGF-1 too high.
Yeah.
We want IGF-1 to be moderate, not to be pushed up into the pro-cancerous range. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm an athlete, and I do downhill skiing in my 70s, and I do mogul skiing, and I do mogul, and I play singles tennis very aggressively, and I go to the gym, and I've been working out my whole life, right? Mm-hmm. And my body fat is around 11.5%. Okay.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and I have a six-pack.
Love it.
Okay, so now the question is, I only weigh 150 pounds. Mm-hmm. When I was competing as a professional athlete, I only weighed 155 pounds. I'm only 5 pounds lighter than I used to be when I was younger and had a little more muscle. But what if I wanted to be 165 pounds or 170 pounds of muscle? Mm-hmm. I'd have trouble getting up there on my present diet. I'd probably need to eat more animal products to get an extra 10 pounds. Because I'm lifting weights, I'm benching, I'm squatting, I'm lifting as much weight as I could possibly handle, and I'm pretty strong, and I could lift. I could still bench press even now, probably more than my body weight. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, I'm not going to get to 165 pounds unless I eat a higher protein diet.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's probably going to shorten my lifespan. So probably we saw that in the NOSH study. The NOSH study was on professional football players, mm-hmm. that the the linemen who were bigger in the 250 to 300 pound range had the shortest lifespan of any population in North America compared to the quarterbacks and the tight ends and the receivers who were running up, who were thinner and leaner, and didn't have the extra bulk on their body.
Yeah.
The extra diet and the extra calories they needed to get to that level of bulk. And you're probably not going to get to that level of bulk unless you are eating animal products. Mm-hmm. So there is some trade-off here, because the leanest athletes, like the tennis players and the skiers and the boxers and the basketball players, are going to live the longest. Mm-hmm. The power lifters and the guys who want to get as big as possible are probably not going to live as longest. They're not. And I advise a lot of professional athletes, including some professional football players, and some of them say to me, I have 3 more years in professional football to get all my money, and then you're going to work with me, and I'm going to figure it out. We're going to drop 50 pounds, and we're going to eat super healthy. I'm going to undo, but now I have to carry the extra weight, so I can't eat that way now. If their career, they're making a lot of money, but in any case, there's some trade-off here. Yeah, because we're probably not going to maximize size if you're restricting animal products to the degree that I want you to restrict them to, not more than 10% of calories. Mm-hmm. To restrict to that level, you probably are going to maximize your opportunity to maximally bulk up. Yeah. But the maximally bulking up is not the same thing as maximally extending lifespan.